This conference will now be recorded.
Wouldn't that just be talking?
Yes, but that's how they hear the meeting. So, okay, now you can speak.
Okay, I think maybe we've got it figured out now. Ms. Joyner, are you available to do your presentation now?
Nope, she went green.
Oh, yes, I am. Sorry, I wasn't sure. I didn't hear anyone.
No, there's technical difficulties on my end, apparently.
Okay.
So you can
Are we
ask it whenever you're ready.
okay? Are we gonna be able to share our screen? Do you have our presentation?
I just got to know where the speaker is. I don't do this every day, folks, so bear with me.
It's all
Yeah.
good. We've all been there.
Can you hear? I can't hear out there. Can you try talking again?
Yeah, I was just curious if you have our presentation or if you wanted us to share the screen.
Guys hear that?
Do you have the presentation, Pete, or do you want her to share her screen? You're going to have to share the screen.
Alyssa, I'll go ahead and share the screen. I just got my audio to work, so I apologize if I missed any excellent information prior to that.
You did not miss anything, believe me.
Excellent. Are we ready to share our presentation now?
I think that's it. So who is going to share it?
Who's sharing?
We're
Benson.
for Southwest Washington, and I can share my screen if we're ready.
I think we're ready.
Right. 1 second.
There's Allison.
Now, it looks like I need to have the organizer make me a presenter to be able to do this.
Here we go.
I think we might have it now.
There we go. Excellent. Thank you. There we go. So can I get some confirmation from folks that they can see my screen here?
We're rolling, Benton. Let's do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, first of all, Council, thank you for your time, for allowing us to talk to you about Workforce Southwest Washington. Truly appreciate you talking with us late on, right after a long weekend. It's fantastic to have this audience. So starting with some introductions, I'm Benson Watrous, Senior Program Manager at Workforce Southwest Washington. I manage a number of our local investments to help workers find sustainable living wage jobs and help industry find workers. I'll pass it over to Alyssa to introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone. I am Melissa Joyner. I'm the Senior Project Manager for Manufacturing, focusing on the manufacturing industry on the business side of the house.
Oops. All right, so a little bit about us. Workforce Southwest Washington is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that's operating in the counties of Clark, Cowlitz, and Wahkiakum in Washington State. Our role is really to invest in programs and fund local initiatives that help individuals find living wage jobs and help industry find workers. workers. Since 2003, we've invested over $100 million to get people working in Southwest Washington. So again, we fund programs to help folks get jobs, including the work source centers, which you might be familiar with in Southwest Washington, as well as NEXT, which is Clark County's first and only youth unemployment center, which supports young people in their employment goals. Pass it over to Alyssa.
So we're here to talk to you about one of our new initiatives. Before I get into that, I wanted to go a little bit further into what the Columbia-Willamette Workforce Collaborative is. So this is a collective partnership between the workforce boards of Southwest Washington, covering Clark, Cowlitz, and Wahkiakum counties, Work Systems in Portland, representing Multnomah and Washington counties, and then all the way out to Clackamas with Clackamas Workforce Partnerships. For the past decade, we have worked together to take a unified approach to serving businesses, supporting economic development, and guiding the public workforce investments in the area. We have active industry-led advisory boards focusing on construction, healthcare, manufacturing, and technology. Together, we are working on a quality job strategy as part of a larger national conversation. We have explored a number of models that have taken shape throughout the country to learn about best practices and things we expect would work well in our unique region. It's also tied to the Greater Portland Inc.'s comprehensive economic development strategy, as well as the local Cowlitz-Wahkiakum Council of Governments Workforce SEDS plan as well. Moving on, next slide, please. Purpose, objectives, and framework. So within this initiative, we will prioritize workforce equity, as women and people of color were disproportionately impacted throughout the pandemic. Historically, the public workforce system has supported a tuition and training costs for most positions deemed in demand in the region based on our customers' choice. It is our responsibility as stewards of the public funds to ensure that we are investing in training pathways that will position job seekers to earn wages that will provide self-sufficiency. And actually, we're hoping for better than just self-sufficient. Throughout the initiative, what we really want to do is elevate, promote, and tell the stories of the companies in our region who meet quality job markers and who are taking action to improve quality jobs for current and future workers. The quality jobs framework will be finalized on January 31st of this year, and the framework was organized around stages of the employee life cycle and offers a series of strategies that employers can pick and choose from based on their own unique business model. Next slide.
Thank you, Alyssa. And yeah, please go ahead, continue.
Okay. Here are some key indicators of what a quality job is, and it was designed by our Quality Jobs Council. The council was a collective of private sector, labor, community-based organizations, and nonprofits and workers throughout our 3 workforce board regions. And they were developed in July and will wrap up, like I said, their work by the end of this month. Thank you, Benton.
Thank you, Alyssa. Now is the actual end of your slides. Apologies for that. So next part of our presentation, really want to give you, members of the council, more of an idea of some of the key initiatives that we have out in the community that are trying to achieve our mission and goals. I would love to go through every word in this slideshow with you, but sadly, due to time constraints, we won't be able to. Also, however, you guys do have access to this PowerPoint yourselves, and you're more than welcome to reach out to me or Alyssa later with questions if you want to go into these in more detail. But the 4 initiatives that I want to talk about today are NEXT, which is our youth center in Clark County, SummerWorks, which is our summer employment initiative for young adults, our response to various crises, including COVID-19, as well as our efforts in creating childcare solutions for workers in our region. So first one of these, again, is COVID recovery and equity. We currently have a large amount of money in the community right now to try to help folks who have been affected by COVID-19. That includes $1.1 million for dislocated workers, $500,000 specifically for disaster relief employment support related to COVID-19, and a $480,000 investment into poverty reduction in Cowlitz County as part of the statewide Thrive initiative. And likewise, as Alyssa mentioned in her comments, our strategic plan is highly focused on diversity, equity, inclusion, and that includes making sure that our resources are available to those who have been disproportionately affected by COVID-19 and other crises, particularly supporting women and people of color in our community to get access to these resources. So the next one I want to talk about is NEXT, which is our Youth Unemployment Center, which is in Clark County. but available with similar resources available in Cowlitz County. It's designed as a one-stop center where young adults between the ages of 16 and 24 who are not in work or school can have access to work readiness training, to apprenticeship opportunities, to work experience and internships in the community, as well as support in engaging with post-secondary education activities. Next one I want to talk about is the SummerWorks internship program, which is one of our larger investments that has really tried to engage youth who have, within the last few years, really decreased in the number of young people who are pursuing summer job activities. And I won't go through all the statistics, but since 2018, when the program launched, we've connected 306 youth to work readiness activities and 214 paid internships. And then within the last year, this program has generated over $150,000 in wages to young adults in the region. And then finally, childcare supports. Many of you are likely aware that childcare access and availability is a crisis in our region as well as across the country. Last year, WSW commissioned a report with XG Consulting to really analyze what the impacts of childcare and the lack of access to it is in the community. And again, I won't go through all the statistics, but you can see here with some of these numbers that the childcare drought has led to has some pretty dramatic potential effects on the workforce, including absentee costs and turnover. And I think one of the particularly shocking statistics here is that across the average of all ages, it's a higher cost to put a young person through full-time childcare than to attend Clark College full-time. So really this report looked at the impact on industry and also kind of came up with some ideas about how we as a workforce system can support that. Part of that we're doing right now is working with our partners across the river in Portland, as Alyssa talked about, to create regional strategies to have childcare navigators who can help folks access childcare resources, as well as increase our amount of funds that we have for direct childcare support for participants in our programs. So my final thing I just want to mention is how city councils and your group can support the workforce in our activities. One of those is investing in specific WSW initiatives such as SummerWorks or directly into childcare supports for participants, or also including yearly funding for the workforce in your city plans. In terms of what you can do in the community, promoting the good jobs and good jobs criteria that Alyssa was talking about is really important, including advocating for high wages and benefits for local employers, providing letters of support and partnership to WSW, and also advocate for practices that lead to equitable hiring opportunities for folks in the community. And then finally, just reaching out and promoting our investments in the community, raising the profile of the work that we do and its importance. So that's our presentation. I have some of our contact information here. Alyssa is heroically stepping up for Darcy, who's our Director of Business Services, who is out sick today. So her contact information is right here, but I'll ask Alyssa when she has a moment just to put her information into the chat so that you can reach out to either of us with questions about this. I'm not sure if we have time for questions at the end of this session, but we're happy to take them if that's what you're interested in.
Okay, I'll find out if anybody has any questions. Does anybody have any questions for the group here? It was a struggle to hear with our setup here. So if you could send a link for the info that you have on there.
Certainly. Yeah, we're happy to resend the presentation to folks as well as our websites and other information.
Okay. So yeah, I would say everybody read what was put out there, and it was a struggle here for hearing. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but
okay. Well, again, we're more than happy to follow up with any members of the council on any of these initiatives or just to chat in general. We're more than happy to do that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, and
Thank you.
appreciate it. Now time to move on to citizen communications for items not on the agenda. If anybody has any.
Did they sign up? Did they bring you the sign up?
Yep, they got
Yep. Looks like Joy Smith is on the list here.
Joy Smith, and I'm here on behalf of Cleaning Up the Floor.
Okay. So you have 5 minutes to address the council or to speak, and you can go now.
I sent a sheet up that has some facts and figures on it. In previous council meetings, the majority thing that they were looking at is if we were going to bring in crime or anything like that. And we've been in Woodland now for 5 months, and our neighboring businesses have seen a steady rise in income. They have also been appreciative of the security that we've hired. There's been no more police being called to that parking lot because there was a lot of traffic, unwanted traffic there. We've done a lot of donation things. We donated $2,000 to feed anybody in Woodland that's with Daddy D's. We've fed over 1,500 people. We've also donated $1,250 to Daddy D's to help him with 5 families that he adopted for Christmas. Alone, we did 18 families of our own and personally shopped and wrapped and did everything and delivered for these kids. We're very happy, all Woodland families. Right now, we're in a program collecting money for backpacks and school supplies for these kids when they go back to school. The community supports our operation and bringing in more business to the community. We have over 250 customers a day. 55% of those customers are Woodland residents, and 45 are traveling to Woodland to come see us. They're using your gas stations, they're spending money, they're going to your Walmart. We've created 6 jobs. We were able to employ 6 people from Woodland. We're hoping to be able to employ some more. We're just trying to be a positive, contributing business for the town. That's all I really have. There is some more facts and figures on the back. And this is just something I would like you guys to keep in consideration because I believe we're on the topic for next month. Thank you very much. Any questions for me?
I don't think we do questions at this time, do we?
Okay. Perfect.
Pete, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention, there'll be, that issue will be before the planning commission, February 18th.
It will not be before council, it'll be before the planning commission.
Correct. The planning commission.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
I don't have anybody else wrote down for items not on the agenda. If there's anybody else in the audience or online that would like to speak to items not on the agenda, now is your time. I don't know if there was anybody in the chat saying they wanted to.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Up a little.
We're at
Little pop-up.
Where the
see.
number
Right.
one, the rest.
Oh, I clicked on. It doesn't look like anybody's wanting to chat here. So we can move on to,
Is there?
There's two, there's a
Two
two,
of the
there's a
red.
bubble.
yeah, I clicked on it. It's just a chat,
Oh, yeah,
couple
but-
questions
yeah.
on there. It's not regarding the
Okay.
citizen communication.
Get that one up, Pete, that click on that one and get that one up. That one.
Yeah,
There it is.
I think it's our normal hard to hear.
Yeah.
And I apologize for that. I can't control that though. So we can move on to citizen communications for items on the agenda. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to speak. Yes. Please come up and state your name.
Good evening, my name is Denise Miller, I'm with the Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Ms. Rowland, to being a couple. Welcome, I'm glad to see you guys also here. So I'm here tonight to just kind of give you guys an update on what's going on in the world of Chamber. We're pretty busy.
Oh, hold on.
Actually, we have that in a different spot. So,
Where do I not go now?
No,
yeah, we have a special spot for you.
Oh.
Boards of advisory committees and.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
What are you doing to me? It's my first time here.
Huh?
It's my first time here.
Hey, it's my first time being in the special spot.
She's just getting you warmed up.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
I'm just gonna say I followed the mayor's.
You're making me look bad.
There you go. Blame it on Will.
So if there's not anybody else that would like to come up and speak for items on the agenda, then we can move on. We will move on to agenda approval.
Second. But we have to pull something.
We need to
that's
pull
a-
something.
That's a
We do
consent item.
not have the minutes attached, so it's hoping someone pulled the minutes. from the consent
Yeah, when we do the consent items.
When we get to the consent items?
agenda.
Which on the agenda approval right now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so yeah.
Okay. So I got a motion from Councilmember Burke and seconded by Councilmember Rounds. We take the roll.
Chapman.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Didn't hear.
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland,
Aye.
Councilmember Rowland,
Aye.
Councilmember Round.
Aye.
Agenda approved. Move on to nothing on public hearing. Reports of city council. If anybody has anything to report,
I got some.
Councilmember Chapman.
I know I didn't say much and stuff, but everything, but a few weeks ago, we had kind of a little incident, little activity in Woodland. We got pretty intense. And I want to give a big shout out to our police force and stuff, because especially Sergeant Lip, as it was coming in, we had quite a few agent or other facilities coming in here, and the way he handled it, to get it on top of it, to get everything in control, calling in the what we needed to get this under control, and it de-escalated very quickly. I'm very impressed with Sergeant Lip, how he's calm and cool on the radio and getting everything taken care of. And then so the city of Woodland people get back to business, like, and everything is back to front and everything running smooth. So I'd like to really give a nice shout out to the police force for taking care of that.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
you're quite welcome. Yes.
Right back to me.
By me also.
Yeah, I think that we were doing kind of our personal and stuff, and kind of, yeah, you got taken care of, diffused, and back to normal very quickly. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I very much appreciate
Best
it.
part is nobody was hurt. So
Exactly.
we did lose a car out of the old one.
Yeah.
It's always our cars. It's always, don't they know how expensive they are?
I don't think they're thinking about it.
I think injury is a lot more expensive. Take out the car. Yes, Councilmember Burke.
I was listening to the incident on the radio, and they were gonna do a reverse patch, but I never got a phone call. Did they ever do that? I don't know if they did. So we're gonna patch and let the residents know. I don't know if 911 actually did that.
Anybody else reports of council?
Oh, you can get your COVID test. Free
Yeah.
COVID test, maybe you can order them today on the internet. Go to covidtest.gov, and you can get 4 kits sent to your house. Has to be a house, not a business.
Just one per address, one order per address is what I was reading.
And they'll ship then this month and take 7 to 12 weeks.
7 to 12 weeks. Hopefully we're over it by then. Okay, there's no further reports. We can move on to standing committees. So Finance General Government did not meet today, so we will be meeting February 21st at 5:30 in police conference room, I think is where we're meeting. And Human Resources.
That's me. Me and Councilman Rowland attended tonight and stuff. We had on the agenda, since Councilman Plaza was not here, me and Jen elected him as being the chair. So he gets to chair it again. So on tonight's agenda, we started at 6 o'clock tonight. We had ordinance 1499 that is the authorized update of the Woodland Municipal Code, Chapter 2.28, the police and the fire civil service. The committee does recommend a do pass recommendation on that to get it going and stuff. It's cleaning up the language and stuff, since we no longer have a fire department under the city, and then it gives the police force a little more flexibility on civil service. Right, chief, as in the number of people we can have on civil head count, or what do you want to call it? But yeah, it just gives us a little easier and flexibility on the numbers that we can have on that. So we do that, and then we are still on the negotiations with the Teamsters, Clerical, and Public Works. So we're going through with that, and everything seems to be moving forward and steady. So hopefully we'll have that come to finish and have something signed and done not too far from now. And that's about all we had, and we adjourned at 6:10. And our next meeting will be next month on the 3rd. And I can't see the calendar from here. So
February 21st.
February 21st. Questions?
Any questions for Councilmember Chapman? All right.
Yeah.
Move on to reports of advisory committee. Miss Miller, would you like to come up and give your report now?
Hi, guys.
This is your special. Yeah.
Denise Miller, PO with the Chamber of Commerce. Hello, all. Good evening. Couple things going on in the Chamber of Commerce. We have started our legislative call or session. We had our second call today. Highly recommend hopping on those Zooms. It's very easy. You can just click the link. You don't have to turn your camera on. You be in your bed. Just call, be informed. Of course, we do send out the recaps after, but do try to log in. That way you can ask questions. You'll get the information before I send out the recaps. And our next call is the 25th, which is next Tuesday, and that one will be with Abarno. The next event after that is the 29th, which is coming the following Saturday, and that is our chamber banquet. That is at A-Lene. I'm going to give you guys all some really pretty handouts so you can see the information. And we are still accepting reservations as well as sponsorships for that. The meal choices are chicken, salmon, or vegetarian. Be tasty. The following week, the 1st, we have legislative call with Representative Orcutt, as well as our February monthly meeting. And that topic is going to be how to market yourself efficiently. And the speaker will be Lindsay Cope, Vice President of the CEDC, the California Economic Development Council, as well as Josh Carter from Cook and FN. He does a lot of the marketing and helping with the CEDC, with like the Longview downtowners and stuff like that, about getting more people into their community. So they're going to come speak. And then the 4th of February, we have a ribbon cutting with Church-Term Mortgage. The event starts at 2:30. The actual ribbon cutting is at 3:30. You will all receive that information as usual. We really hope to see you all at the events. We love having our
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Miller?
They sent out the 10 most goals to watch. I printed that out and put it on your desk.
Okay,
You sent it to me?
thank you.
Yes, and then that would also went out with a recap as well as links below each one on how to directly comment. Directly how to comment on the actual Washington website. So it goes directly to, it goes to the Capitol.
Hey, Pete, that question on here, I was going to reference the email when we brought it up for discussion. Do we need to bring that up beforehand?
City council received that email from Ms. Riff, so it's up to city council, whether the city council would like to speak.
Okay.
It's an email that was sent Friday.
Did everybody get that email? You got it? Okay. So, yeah, we'll address it. I'll address it when we get to the discussion. Probably not the right time, but.
As long as the city council received it, city council wants to address it, and otherwise we've all read it. So.
Okay.
So does it just become part of public record with our minutes, or?
If council wishes, we can attach.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
That was my thought. I don't know what you guys, but okay.
I know
Sorry.
where you were going.
I sidetracked. Let me get back on page here. Thank you, Ms. Miller. So reports of city officers. The mayor is not here, so we can move on to city administrator.
Okay, I wanted to mention that we have a vacancy on the Mosquito Control Board. Needs to be someone who lives within the city of Woodland boundaries. I understand it's a meeting that happens quarterly. It's been vacant for a little bit now. We've advertised it. Haven't had any colors. I spoke with Councilmember Burke, who may volunteer. We don't receive anyone else, but I need to confirm that a city councilor can do that. I don't believe there's a conflict, but I want to check.
What day do they meet on?
That I don't know. If anyone's interested, if they could contact me at City Hall.
So it can be anybody in the city, or you want specifically a council member?
I'm assuming it has to be a registered voter.
Okay. Registered voter within the city limits? Okay. Okay.
Okay. HR committee reported that we're still meeting with the clerical teamsters and public works teamsters. Just so you know, our next meeting is scheduled for February 3rd. We've been making progress, so both sides are talking and exchanging ideas, so hopefully we get where we need to go. Upcoming events, the planning commission is meeting on January 20th here at 7 p.m. Talked about the Chamber of Commerce annual banquet, January 29th. City action days, myself, Councilmember Holland, and Councilmember Burke have signed up to attend that. It's a virtual meeting this time. I did write down the council retreat.
It's the 19th.
February 19th.
February 19th. Okay, so Saturday, February 19th.
8 a.m. for social time and 9, I think, for.
So we
It's a little early.
I'll
put
shoot for
together an
6.
agenda and get it to council. We'll try to have that together for the first meeting in February, so if council wants to make some adjustments, you can. And, yeah, it should be a good meeting. It's been too long since we've done it. So,
What day was that again? February 18th is what?
19th.
The 19th? Okay.
Saturday.
And we're starting at 9, 8
8
a.m.?
a.m. social, 9 a.m. we start.
Okay.
and we
right.
meet in this room. Okay, and that's my report. I'm keeping it short tonight. Anyone has questions that you have to answer?
Any questions from the council? Okay, moving on.
Oh, one other item, just real quick. Ordinance 1499 that's on the agenda. I wanted to point out that Mayor Quinn has requested a first and final reading on that tonight. He's hoping to get a approval on that.
Good candidate.
Applications for the lieutenant position that council approved during the budget process are due next week. And with some promising applicants that you all know is very competitive, and we don't want any of them to. That's my report.
Okay. Any more questions regarding that from the council? Okay. Any other reports from city officers that aren't on the agenda in front of me here? All right, we'll move on to consent items. And we do need to
Move to approve consent items A and B and pull C for discussion.
motion by Councilmember Chapman, seconded by Councilmember Burke. We take the roll, Ms. Anderson.
Councilmember Chapman,
Aye.
Councilmember Rowland,
Or, hold on, time out. Do we need to discuss the?
And discussion.
Do we need to discuss the C? I forgot to say discussion, so I apologize. Okay, start over. We'll take the roll again. Thank you.
Councilmember Chapman,
Aye.
Councilmember Rowland,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland,
Aye.
Councilmember Burke,
Aye.
Councilmember Round,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye. Consent items approved. Move on to action item.
Do we discuss C?
Do we need to? Are we discussing C? I don't know. I'm at a loss.
We just pulled it.
Did we just pull it? Well, you said you pulled it for discussion, so I guess we have to discuss it now, right? So we'll discuss C. Approve the minutes of January 3rd, 2022. Councilmember Chapman.
And to put it out, the way we pulled it, it didn't quite make it into the packet. So to be open and fair to everybody, we're pulling it till we get it put into the packet.
Be able to read what you're approving.
Yeah, so now we get it put it in there later, then we approve. Once it's approved. Let's just put it into the packet.
Okay. Any further discussion on C? I think, do we need to table it or just, it's going to come up next meeting? Is that the plan?
If it just decides to lack a motion, then we'll have it on the next.
Okay. So we have no motions. It'll come up next month if everybody's good with that. We can move on to action item D. Ordinance 1498, amend city council rules regarding reporting dates for committees, final reading.
Move to approve ordinance 1498, council rules.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Chapman, seconded by Councilmember Rounds. Councilmember Chapman,
I have no comment on this one.
Councilmember Rounds.
Me either.
Any further comment? None here. We take the roll, Ms. Anderson.
Councilmember Cullen? Aye. Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Burke?
Aye.
Councilmember Rowland?
Aye.
Councilmember Brown? Aye. Councilmember Chapman?
Aye.
Action item D has passed. Moving on to action item E, authorize mayor to sign professional service agreement contract with HHPR for consulting engineering for the Lakeshore Avenue pavement and pedestrian improvement project.
Make a motion to approve action item E, mayor authorized to sign professional service agreement with the PR for consulting engineering for Lakeshore Avenue and pedestrian improvement project.
Motion by Councilmember Rounds, seconded by Councilmember Burke. Councilmember Rounds?
This is the city's putting very little money into it. I think we got a grant. And so I think this needs to be done. It'll be a great thing. So
Councilmember Burke?
I agree. Get done.
Yeah, from what I've seen on it, it looked like it was going to be a pretty good project on that road there. So, is there any further comments?
If I remember correctly, this is use it or lose it, the grant.
Yeah.
right.
So just for transparency purposes, if we don't do this and we don't spend the money, we have to give it back.
Is that, it has to be used by the end of this year, I think? Is that right? Okay. Yeah. Okay, any further comment? Seeing none, we take the roll, Ms. Anderson?
Aye.
Councilmember Holland?
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman?
Aye.
Aye.
Councilmember Burke?
Aye.
Councilmember Rowland?
Aye.
Motion has passed. Moving on to action item F, ordinance 1499, amendment of Civil Service Commission for the Police Department and the elimination of the city's fire department.
Make a motion to approve action item F, ordinance number 1499, amendment of the Civil Service Commission for the Police Department and the elimination of the city's fire department.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah.
Just for clarification.
First
Mayor
and
made a
final.
request for a first and final reading.
We make this the first.
I wasn't sure, the motion didn't address it. So
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah.
Okay,
On the second page.
it's on the second one. Did I not read the rest of the way?
Yeah.
Is that what I missed it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mayor Pro
final
Tem,
Can I
package.
make an amendment?
Mayor Pro Tem, maybe the city attorney could address.
Yes.
Yeah, so what happens is, this is Woodland Municipal Code 1.01.110. And you can do it with a single reading under the following conditions. The provision requiring two separate readings of an ordinance may be temporarily suspended, which means it would only be for this vote. If the mayor or then presiding officer makes an express determination on the record that the circumstance for doing so is just, someone needs to explain why we need to do it when we want. And once that explanation has been given, then a majority of both council approves the single vote for this.
So we need to, do we need to vote on doing a single vote or just call it out as first and,
I mean, someone needs to be able to articulate to the council why this needs to be passed. Chief might be able to help.
Okay.
And why it can't wait for the normal 2 seconds. Because once the council has heard why the desire to do it on one vote, then they vote either up or down in the majority.
Okay, so we do a motion and a second and then address it during that time, or?
I mean, what I would say is someone needs to articulate why this, maybe she can explain or someone can explain why we need to pass it tonight.
Okay.
So that's what I think we need to do now.
I think Mr. Boyce has a better line because it's like, he's actually speaks directly to the mayor. So
Okay.
So the mayor's rationale was, we're looking at filling the lieutenant position that was authorized by council during the budget process, by the appropriation and the salary bill that was passed. We're currently advertising for that position, and it closes next week. And with the competitive nature of filling law enforcement vacancies, he was hoping to have a first and final reading on this ordinance, so it line up with the hiring process. And that was the reason for this.
Okay.
So we make a motion on that then? Is that correct?
Yes, now treat it, you've now heard the reason, someone make a motion, then second it, then you have a discussion.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Let me reread it here, just so we're
Well, we're just doing that. for the
100%.
Before everybody forgets.
I don't want this to be wrong, so. So ordinance on the floor for a first and final reading.
Correct.
We have discussed the merits towards the first and final reading. So now we're looking for a motion for ordinance 1499, amendment to the Civil Service Commission for the Police Department and the elimination of the city's fire department for such commission and amending ordinance 843, requesting a first and final reading. So now I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Round, seconded by Councilmember Chapman. Councilmember Round.
It is a time frame issue, so I think we just need to proceed with it and get it done.
Councilmember Chapman.
I agree, because we got some good candidates coming up, and I don't want to lose them to other municipalities, so.
Any further comment? So the only concerns I had is, it sounds like this is eliminating the commission just for this one position. Any of the other hirings are still going to go through the commission
Right.
at this point.
Right.
And it sounds like,
Given the size of our police department, we can have the chief plus 2 others not part of the civil service commission. So what we're doing right now is deciding to give the lieutenant one of the 2 available slots.
okay,
More flexibility.
okay. And then that position is still going to come before council for a vote
Yes,
for approval of who gets hired.
What we're doing is just starting the process on a single vote as opposed to waiting for second.
So it would be an exempt position, with exempt positions to use, employment contract. So that employment contract would come before city council for consideration.
Okay. Now, as far as the email that we talked about earlier from Citizen Communication, did everybody receive that email?
Yes.
Does anybody want to read that in tonight, or is everybody okay with the information that was given to them?
I'm okay as long as it's attached to the minutes and part of the minutes.
Do we want to make sure we add that email to help me out, clarify what the word I'm looking for, or put it into record?
Staff will do that. Will do that.
Okay, so your email will be put into record, and everybody at council did get that. Any further discussion before we take a vote?
now we're voting on this here and not going to hire any lieutenant that's already been decided, right?
That was done in the budget process.
That was done in the budget.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is not, and this isn't voting for the person. This is just amending the rules to allow him to expedite the hiring and go to bypass the commission, if I'm reading it correctly. The Civil Service Commission.
Civil Service.
And don't we already have three on the civil service commission?
My understanding is no, right now, because we have two clerks, a big part of the Civil Service Commission. So right now, the only one that we have is two. That's correct.
Yes, sir.
But we are entitled to have two more. So what we're doing is deciding that for the lieutenant, we'll have one. And then at some future date, if you wish, someone else to qualify for that.
You're talking about the volunteer.
Who's that?
Civil service.
Oh, there's 3 members of the Civil Service Commission. I believe we only
have 2.
Currently only have 2 people.
We
We
only
can
got
put an
2.
ad out. Looking at some more. Been out for quite a while.
Okay. Any further comments or questions regarding ordinance 1499? Seeing none? Oh,
Doesn't the verbiage, it's just removing the fire department. It's also just removing the fire department because
Yeah.
they are now a
Two things
district.
in one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 2 things in one
Right,
ordinance, right?
but
I
it's
thought
not,
we should still only
it's
have
not
one thing
really
per ordinance.
nefarious. That's kind of my question.
I thought only one item is supposed to be not any ordinance. In other words, you can't put 2 to affect something else. You can either remove the, I believe you can either remove the fire department from the ordinance, but then you put a clause there to justify hiring the lieutenant. That's what I'm reading.
I mean, you're still talking about civil service for the fire department and for the police. The fire department with the creation of the Clark Powers Fire Rescue, that has pulled the fire departments out of it.
Right.
So what that leaves is just changing that word. I don't think that violates the provision. Understand you can't have cats and dogs in the same word.
Right.
But this is literally an amending of the provision in our code.
Okay.
okay. Do you have any further questions or comments regarding ordinance 1499? Seeing none, the Ms. Anderson, take the roll.
Aye.
Aye.
Councilmember Rowland,
Aye.
Councilmember Holland,
Aye.
Councilmember Round,
Aye.
Councilmember Frank.
Aye. The motion has passed. I feel like we should take like maybe an hour-long break at this point so we can finish at our normal time of 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Just because we'll try to throw you under the bus. I mean, take us down the road with you.
Move
So,
to adjourn.
take a motion to
Second.
adjourn. All in favor?
Aye. Boo.
Adjourn at 7:51.
We didn't set a record well, but we're doing better now.
See, it's all because Ben and Dave aren't here.
Yeah.
Right.
Good job.
Let me,
Okay.
Two things in that.